Atlanta's drama has reached a boiling point. Additionally, Rasheeda Frost and Karlie Red's friendship is officially in jeopardy. Together, these two have spent years navigating the industry's highs and lows. However, the song that recently appeared on LHHATL Atlanta Season 13B is unlike anything we've ever heard. We're not merely discussing small-time social media backlash or a business dispute. We are discussing a very personal and devastating claim that has completely shocked the entire cast and fans. Rasheeda made a major accusation against Karlie, accusing her of having a covert abortion, in a furious exchange that will go down in reality TV history. As soon as Rasheeda finished speaking, the room fell silent. This wasn't only an insult in the heat of the moment. It seemed like a deliberate attack on Karlie's personality and past. Rasheeda, who is often the boss female who maintains her composure and the voice of reason, appeared to have reached her breaking point. Karlie Red, the queen of messy and the person who normally has an investigation ready for everyone else, was clearly spooked on the opposite side. Fans are divided on the accusation's sheer daring, tears, music, and real emotion. Is Rasheeda going too far by discussing such a private and delicate subject on camera? Or is she at last revealing something that Karlie has been attempting to keep out of the public eye? We are examining the dissolution of a 10-year relationship as we delve into this unknown tale. In order to determine the precise cause of this explosion, we're looking behind the scenes of Season 13B. Tension is at an all-time high, from the whispered rumors in Atlanta's social circles to the moment the cameras caught the fallout. Keep checking back as we dissect every aspect of this intense rivalry, the background of their conflict, and the fallout that could spell the end for Rasheeda and Karlie's career. Atlanta has long had a fiercely competitive attitude. However, even seasoned viewers were unprepared for the level of vitriol that was introduced in the most recent season of LHHATL Atlanta. We must examine the gradual deterioration of their confidence over the past few months in order to comprehend why Rasheeda would level such a serious complaint against Karlie. Although they had previously referred to one another as sisters, the fissures started to appear when personal discussions began to spill into the public domain. Rasheeda has always placed a high priority on loyalty, maintaining a close-knit social group and her family's business behind closed doors. But in the end, Rasheeda's fast-paced lifestyle and Karlie's status as the group's main informant collided in a way that was impossible to ignore. Like any other high-stakes event, the atmosphere started with elegance, pricey cocktails, music, and a hint of dread. The discussion began with small complaints, particularly about Karlie's propensity to interfere with the Frost household's marital dynamics. However, the mask started to come off as the back and forth became more intense. After reaching a breaking point, Rasheeda declared that Karlie's messiness was a cover-up for her own secret life rather than merely a characteristic of the character. It wasn't only a blow to Karlie when the charge of the covert abortion was thrown over the table. It was a grenade thrown into the middle of the show. Karlie's first response was one of utter incredulity. Being the target of such a visceral and personal accusation was a complete role reversal for a lady whose profession has been founded on knowing everyone's secrets. While the remainder of the cast sat in startled silence, the production crew hurried to record the fallout. In reality TV, there is a particular code for. Generally speaking, some subjects are off-limits unless the individual in question brings them up. Rasheeda indicated that she was no longer concerned with keeping Karlie safe by disobeying that unwritten rule. This was no longer just about a television program, this was a deliberate attack meant to harm Karlie where it mattered most, her reputation as a woman and a mother. The repercussions of this particular incident extended beyond the boundaries of the shooting site. The energy changed almost instantly. The other women in Atlanta started to pick sides. While some believed that Rasheeda was justified due to years of Karlie's interference, others thought that even for a drama-heavy show, discussing reproductive choices was excessive. This is made even more agonizing by the historical background of their bond. Divorces, court cases, and changes in their careers have all affected them. The fact that it all boils down to a yelling tantrum over such a delicate medical and private choice is evidence of how severed their relationship really is. The quiet that followed the outburst felt more weighty than the screaming itself as the cameras continued to roll. Karlie appeared to shrink under the spotlight for the first time in her career, but Rasheeda held her ground, her visage a mask of icy resolve. There was more to the betrayal than just what was said. It was about years of shared secrets that were being exploited as ammunition. This was the complete destruction of a 10-year alliance, not simply a season's plot. The production staff realized they were seeing the end of an era, and the tension in the room was tangible. Friends who had previously stood up for one another against all newcomers were now the main architects of each other's demise. This scene from Season 13B is a somber reminder that loyalty is a valuable commodity in the realm of Atlanta reality TV. A single outburst of wrath can dissolve even the tightest ties. It's not only a question of who is correct or incorrect. It concerns the irreversible harm done to a friendship legacy that many believe to be untouchable. Now that the bridge separating them has burnt to the ground, the debate shifts from whether she said it to whether they will ever be able to return. It appears that the response is a loud nay. Everyone in their social circles is already feeling the effects of this accusation, which is making them reevaluate their own opinions. The evidence, the rumors, and the receipts that Rasheeda says she has in her possession become more important as we move into the next stage of this play. The story shifts from a contentious discussion to a full-fledged information battle at this point, marking the beginning of the probe. The story moved from the accusation itself to the why and the how after the first explosion. Nothing remains hidden for very long on Love Hip Hop. The receipts that Rasheeda claimed to have are the subject of the second section of this tale. The streets of Atlanta were alive with theories in the days after the altercation. How did Rasheeda learn? Did Karlie have a mole in her camp? Or did Karlie, in a vulnerable time, confide in the wrong person? The narrative becomes much more sinister at this point. There were rumors that the information originated from a person connected to one of Karlie's ex-partners, implying that the secret had been known in the music industry for a considerable amount of time. Ever the strategist, Karlie Red didn't remain down for very long. She entered full defense mode, trying to undermine Rasheeda's sources while also addressing the claim's emotional impact. We witnessed a side of Karlie that is seldom seen, the side that isn't showcasing herself for the cameras, in her private confessions. She discussed the brutality of using someone's history as a weapon and the breach of privacy. The audience was still dubious, though. A charge like this typically has some merit in the realm of reality TV. In an off-camera debate, the tension shifted from the party's physical location to the digital realm of social media, where viewers started looking through previous episodes and interviews to see if the chronology made sense. Rasheeda, meanwhile, continued to hold her ground. She did not apologize or retract. Rather, she reaffirmed her belief that Karlie is a hypocrite who condemns the lives of others while keeping her own skeleton-filled closet closed. This draws attention to a significant issue in Season 13B, the OG Alliance's demise. The season cast members remained largely united against the newcomers for years. However, everyone has been compelled to choose a side in this conflict between Rasheeda and Karlie. Many fans believe Rasheeda's action was low budget, a term frequently used on the program to characterize desperate or tacky behavior, which is testing the Frost's boss mindset. Everything else in the season was dominated by the subplot of the investigation into the reality of the matter. Whispers about the honor overshadowed every dinner, shop opening, and studio session. Over the production, it turned into a cloud. The creator's handling of the delicate subject is fascinating. Despite the show's reputation for being boisterous and combative, the claim was met with a heavy stillness that said a lot. It spurred a discussion about fair play in entertainment. Does participating in a reality program imply giving up your right to privacy about your medical history? Rasheeda seems to believe that you have to be able to take it if you're going to give it. However, the price of this music instruction could be her reputation as the most sophisticated member of the group. The power balance changed once the receipts, or at least the threat of them, started to appear. For the first time in more than 10 years, Karlie, who often holds the cards, had to play defense. In the race to discover the truth, friends turned into adversaries and adversaries into comrades. The story was no longer limited to a single incident. It concerned two of the greatest stars on the show and their moral character. Rasheeda's reputation is destroyed if she is lying. Karlie's carefully crafted image of transparency is destroyed if she is telling the truth. As the weeks passed, the psychological toll on both ladies became apparent. It was evident in how they handled the identical situations. The VIP parts are filled with icy looks. Additionally, the rest of the cast was cautious about them. The secret itself is not the only untold aspect of this tale. However, a single sentence has the power to destroy 10 years of history. It became evident as the research progressed that this chapter would not have a neat conclusion. There was already too much collateral damage, and the information being uncovered threatened to put many more people in danger. The line in the sand had been drawn deep at the end of this stage. Karlie was finally being haunted by the schemes she was often accused of. But Rasheeda, at what cost? The audience was left thinking if destroying a sisterhood was worthwhile in the search for the truth. As we enter the last segment of this journey, we examine the long-term fallout, the unhealing wounds, and what seems to be the most explosive reunion in the franchise's history. The future is now the main focus. Is it possible for these two women to be in the same room once more? Or is the A-Town now too little for them both? The divide between Rasheeda and Karlie changed from an abrupt explosion to a cold, premeditated conflict as the season moved closer to its eventual conclusion. The explosive energy that characterized their first confrontation developed into a deep-seated animosity that contaminated all of their professional and group interactions. We see the long-term effects of the charge in this last chapter of the story. It wasn't merely a planned story point or a viral moment for the trailers. Love Hip-Hop, Atlanta's DNA was radically altered. The reunion's anticipated reconciliation appeared farther off than it had ever been. By the next filming cycle, these women can typically yell, toss a drink, and resume referring to one another as sisters. However, this felt distinct. This sounded like severing connections in a jagged, permanent way. There has been a huge impact on their individual brands and enterprises. Rasheeda, the businesswoman who has spent years cultivating a sophisticated reputation through her media empire and boutique, had to deal with an unanticipated reaction in the music industry. Although she believed she was protecting her family from Karlie's interference, many admirers perceived the action as a betrayal of womanhood and accused her of harassing a friend when she was at her most vulnerable. However, at a time when she was already emotionally damaged, Karlie Red had to deal with the intense stigma and the public scrutiny. The focus moved from reality TV fun to a serious conversation about women's rights and the morality of disclosing someone's extremely private medical decisions. The LHHATL stage turned into a microcosm for a much wider social discussion, demonstrating that genuine human suffering can still be shown on screen despite a world of scripts and produced situations. The question that haunts the production is straightforward when considering the future. With both of these titans in the same room, will this show survive? The production team is reportedly having trouble scheduling situations where both can be present without security being on high alert, according to behind-the-scenes reports. This is more than a small argument or animosity. It's about a complete disrespect. A new, risky precedent has been set for the entire series by Rasheeda's choice to expose Karlie's personal life to the bright light of the cameras. No secret is safe, and no loyalty is sacred, if something this intimate is regarded as fair game. Their rivalry's hidden tale is still being written in real time. However, the connection that kept the Atlanta cast together for more than 10 years is currently irreparably broken. The quiet between them is far louder in these last episodes than the yelling ever was. They move in the exact same social circles and attend the same high-profile events, but they seem to ignore each other as if they don't exist. A friendship that once characterized the core of the Atlanta franchise comes to a somber, silent end with. The fact that the accusation was made at all is almost more important than whether it was based on complete truth or was just a weaponized rumor. Words are the most powerful weapon in the high-stakes world of reality TV. And Rasheeda just fired a shot that permanently altered both Karlie's life and the Dash show's legacy. The smoke hasn't cleared as A-Town gets ready for what looks to be the most antagonistic reunion in history. Two genre icons are shown to the audience standing on opposing sides of a canyon they designed. No one is winning. Just a friendship that has been exchanged for attention and retribution. Tension is still at an all-time high. The only thing that is known as the cameras ultimately go black in Season 13B is that the world of the Frosts and the Reds will never be the same. For the messy Queen of the South and the Queen of Atlanta, this marks the end of an era and the start of a chilly new reality. The dynamic between Rasheeda and Karlie has fundamentally altered the course of love hip-hop, Atlanta. However, I'd like to hear from you now. Team Karlie or Team Rasheeda? Was it excessive for Rasheeda to bring such a personal issue before the cameras? Or was it time for Karlie to pay the price for her own transgressions? Please leave a remark below. I'm reading them all, and I'd like to know which team you support in this Season 13B matchup. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you like this in-depth exploration of the unspoken drama of A-Town. Every week, you learn more about your favorite reality stars. You won't want to miss the upcoming receipts, I assure you. Activate those post notifications to be the first to know when this rivalry's next installment is released. I appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you in the future one.